This is where my journey began in 1996 when I seen a documentary on the African, when I seen a documentary on transportation in America, and there was no contribution made by African Americans. So I wrote something on that subject to present for our annual Black History celebration. And it was called The African Presence in Transportation. And it was here that I began to lay out from Africa, because no one history should begin in slavery in America. Our history begins in Africa. So I began to lay that out, the contributions we made, beginning in Africa, coming to the shores of North America. And when I got into the inventors section, I came across Granville T. Woods. And at that time, they were speaking about the New York City subway system's pioneers, and they failed to mention Mr. Woods. So I went on a fact-finding crusade for 6 years, and one of the people that inspired me to do this project was Abiola Sinclair. This is a picture of Abiola Sinclair, okay? And she did this magazine. She did 9 editions. The 10th edition she passed, and there was a memorial for her, to remember her legacy. And she was born in 1945 and died in 2001. And so her first edition was speaking about Granville T. Woods, genius of the railroad. And I read this article, and I was truly amazed by what she wrote about him. And I contacted her, and she became my mentor, and she inspired me to do this project, basically to get Granville T. Woods acknowledged for the contributions he made to the New York City subway. This is Years of Service Award. This is a Safe Driving Award, 25 years. I worked for the Transit Authority for about 28 years, and no, to be exact, 27. I worked for the Traffic Department for 3 years, so that made it 30 years for the city. It was 27 years. I enjoyed the job, and I found my purpose when I joined the Black History Committee in 1991. And so here's some research that I did at the Brooklyn Public Library. And this is an article about a third rail pioneer, gallant disagreement. This was the article the New York Times wrote about Granville T. Woods, and me and Professor Roy Von Fossé. It was different opinions that we had about him. I respect his, but I shared another opinion about him, and I'm the one that got him acknowledged on the opening day of the New York Transit operation, A Century of Progress. Here it is. I was able to get Mr. Woods acknowledged right here. And that's when my dream became a reality. This is part of the traveling exhibit. They wrote an article about the traveling exhibit, and I went throughout the MTA, every borough, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island, and for that year. And then they gave me the exhibit. These are the top officials: Peter Calco, standing to my right, standing to my left. To my right is Virgil Conway. He was the prior MTA chairman, and this was a board member that was standing, the only African-American board member at that time of the TWU, Mr. James Harding. In 2005, there was the New York State Honor Roll for employees, and in the MTA, New York City Transit, I was appointed, basically, I was the #1 candidate, and I was honored by that in 2005 for the New York City Transit Employee Honor Roll. As you can see, my name, David L. Head. They also wrote some articles at that time. A bus driver driven by his roots. I thought that was cute. I was driven by my roots. I'm still driven by my roots. This is a New York Daily News. That's a major newspaper in New York City. This is Newsweek and shares an article about me and Granville T. Woods. He was second to none on the third reel. He was the number one. He made the third reel a commercial invention. The original third reel wasn't able to do that. His advanced technology within the third reel made it more commercial applicable. So I started going out to schools and different libraries in New York and the outer areas. I'm making a presentation in Hempstead in costume. This is another presentation I had at the library in Corona, Queens. Granville T. Woods is not he's not too far from there. This is something I treasure. These are some letters that Granville T. Woods wrote. There's about 5 of them. And one of them I put in my book. It speaks about how ill he was, suffering from headaches and liver problems. And he had contracted smallpox, and those same symptoms started to plague him during the end of his life. This is another award I received. Well, I got Mr. Wood acknowledged. Was a street in Coney Island, Brooklyn, and Granville T. Woods Elementary School kids came out that day. It's a very special day. In 2008, the Brooklyn section of the Daily News, they captured that. That's David Bayataya, the curator of the Hempstead Museum. And that is the New York City Transit Authority president standing next to David Bayataya. His name is Howard Roberts. And I'll speak some more about him later. This is another acknowledgement I got in Coney Island while I was there. Not only the street, but I also got him acknowledged in the Hall of Fame for modernizing the roller coaster. He's the one that electrified the roller coaster. This is he called it the amusement apparatus figure 8. There's a picture of the figure 8 roller coaster, and that was displayed in Coney Island. And Charlie Denson, he's the president of the Coney Island Hall of Fame. He's standing beside me, and that was a very special day. In 2009, the street name was acknowledgement was 2008, so I was on a roll. 2004 was the MTA acknowledging Granville T. Woods for the opening of the subway operation, and then the street in 2008, the Coney Island Hall of Fame in 2009, and then in 2010, I won a Telly Award. This is the Telly Award right here. This is my Telly Award. The same people that make the Oscars and Emmys, they make Tellys. This is my 2010 Telly Award for the research I did within that. And you can watch that and YouTube for free. Granville T. Woods documentary. Okay, when I left New York, I always wanted to go to the Charles H. Wright, but I became part of the family. And they acknowledged my research for Granville T. Woods, and they integrated it in 2011 in the Inspiring Minds, African Americans in Science and Technology. That was a special day in 2011 in November. And then I told them, well, we need to do something regarding modern day trailblazers in science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM, called Meet the Science Saturday. So me and my colleague, Dr. Terrence Dillett, we was able to launch that in 2013, and we had it going on every month, exposing curious young minds like these young people to modern day STEM trailblazers. Okay, and that was some it was very enjoyable. We had some great presenters every month to expose curious young minds to people that look like them in STEM professionals. And I really enjoyed coordinating that with my colleague, Dr. Terrence Dillett. As a matter of fact, we got an award for that. I'm proud to say that by the Charles H. Wright. We were able to receive in 2014 the Mary McLeod Methune Award. Me and my colleague, we got this award in 2014. And then they also put me in the calendar for the Charles H. Wright Museum in 2015. This was the calendar, and for the month of July, they honored me, and I said that the vision of Dr. Wright is a living testimony that through one's man determination, dreams can become reality. So Dr. Wright, he was a professional doctor. He's the founder of the Charles H. Wright Museum. It's named after him. And I became part of the family there. Another acknowledgement I received, and they called me and they invited me out to Ohio. It was in Washington Courthouse that Granville T. Woods first began creating an innovation for the induction telegraph system. And this is a plaque honoring Granville T. Wood at that location, and they allowed me to unveil that plaque. People from the Ohio Historical Society, there's a teacher there, and some of his students, and that was a very special day to unveil that plaque. I'm getting ready to unveil. This is the plaque here, and this is what it says, Granville T. Woods in Washington Courthouse. I'm not going to read that whole thing. Okay, so I also went back to Granville T. Woods Elementary School in Brooklyn, and I was able to showcase his project for a number of years there. Okay, these are the youngsters at the school, and I shared his history. And this is the school named after Granville T. Woods. And Middleton A. Harris, he was a historian from Brooklyn. He was able to find his gravesite. And he also was able to get that school named after him. And that was a special day. And also I was able to donate the original exhibit to Granville T. Woods Elementary School because it was getting old. And then I purchased another one, and that cost me about $5,000. I still have that exhibit. I used that. And so they have the original exhibit. And then in 2013, I published my book on Granville T. Woods, African-American communication and transportation pioneer. That's who he was, and much more. He was also a lawyer because he stayed at the patent court. So it's a biographical illustrated book about Granville T. Woods that shares